All right, it's a pain in the ass. I hate when I run out of fucking time. I hate YouTube for them. I think they all should get executed for this. They went out of their way to make sure that my videos are cut off at 15 minutes, no matter how many views I have, no matter how many videos I have. They didn't extend it to the 30 minutes and hour. I've seen, people put on videos that are like 7 hours long. Okay, so there's no excuse for that. They're garbage, they're pussies, they're bitch. Anyway, moving on. So when we look at the black spiritual moral argument, okay, let me just fucking pick up where I was cut off short. The household spirit. Okay, we'll talk about household spirit. We'll talk about the difference between a eugenic test, which is designed for white supremacists and the big three races and the corporations to, you know, kind of get all the attractive women and blame you. Say, oh, why you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you committed a crime. They're designed for you to fail. It's set up for you not to win. It's like playing Monopoly with them, and they have all the pieces on the board already, and every female is a gold digger who's going to go to whoever wins. And then they say you're not smart enough, or you're not healthy enough, or whatever bitch shit they come up with. It's utter garbage. So go back to the household spirit. Your household, right? How you see. Ho you see. Okay, females who are gold diggers are whoring themselves, among other things, for the nice house, okay, the nice car, okay, sometimes for the boat and blah, 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 the jewelry, just petty, shallow, sniveling scum. People that turn a blind eye to all kinds of horrible things, all kinds of trickle-down blood money, complicity, so they can have some jewelry and shit. That's despicable. I tell you the truth. If that was my daughter, I'd fucking kill her. Okay, I don't give a fuck what the law says, wouldn't care what anything else says. Okay, you're not going to continue my bloodline and your Western rape cult bitch energy. I'd shoot her in the fucking head. Done. Okay? No ifs, ands, or buts. Once I've satisfied myself that that's her direction, I kill her. Okay. So household spirit. It is spanking somebody in the true spirit of righteousness and God. Okay. For doing something wrong. And then they grow the right way. Versus somebody who is pretending to be a role model. Right? He's like, that's bad, but he's really a hypocrite who's broken, whose whole life direction is upholding Western rape cults, coerced sex cult, trick sex cult, illusion-based sex cult. Okay, the various ways they get the attractive woman into bed when they know it is pure evil for them to sleep with them under any terms. Okay, they're just not meant to be. Okay, it's like people are different animals. They're like worms and snakes trying to sleep with some precious crane or something. It's ridiculous. So household spirit, okay, I pretty much covered that. So it's a fish out of water. Once this guy leaves the house and he's used to the moral spirit around him and he leaves the house, now you have all kinds of trash and all kinds of gold digging scum. Hi, okay, he's like, look, I'm looking for someone who is going to obey this moral spirit, okay, and that's the bottom line, okay. He comes from a house where the man is the head of the household and he conveys a moral spirit. What he's looking for is to continue that. He's not looking for a gender-neutral kind of communist, free love, feminist relationship. He's not looking for a conservative relationship where they're insisting on Western values. He's looking for true universal morality, potent, intense morality, and passionate love. If he doesn't get that, because obviously he's not making love with his fucking parents or something. If he doesn't get that, okay, he's like a fish out of water. He's suffering. It's going to come to a head eventually. If he settles, right? Remember, settler, settles. Then later on in life, he's going to hate the female. He's going to be like, man, he might even kill her, okay? Because he lowered himself to that. Who knows what kind of horrible stuff that entails? She might be making him do disgusting sex acts and all, having sex with animals. When you start to compromise your morality, okay, and you lower yourself to being beneath some kind of shallow bitch. Let's just be raw here, raw facts. You lower yourself beneath some kind of shallow bitch as a man of honor. Okay, she has done you extremely wrong, and she deserves to be punished. And society is a corrupt rape cult society that wants to encourage people like that, especially to put black people beneath them, so white people and other non-blacks can feel like they're more manly than blacks. That's a major part of the society, using money, suits, and providing to make people feel like they're more manly than black people. And there's a special emphasis on the black hero because he's far more of a man than they are, because he has moral courage, moral toughness, moral obedience, moral precision. Okay, so again, it's what spirit you're raised in. This is also where the continuity. When that continuity is broken because this guy's killed, all you have is people pretending to be him at best or at worst, depending on how you slice it, all the details and so on and so forth. Okay, there's no more, the spirit is not continuing. Naturally, the spirit came over 300,000 years ago, made man martial artists and stand upright. Okay, you can't make this spirit in a lab. Lab backwards is ball. It's by default. It is the worldly devil direction, and I'm sure you put that together, mixing chemicals, mixing elements of the earth, blah 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 blah, utter garbage. Okay, this is the true spirit of God regenerating. Okay, once it's cut off, it's gone. And when people didn't stand with this person on top of that being cut off, they can't magically draw into it. Right? Leopard, Leo poured, right? The Spirit of God poured from generation to generation. It's like they're pouring this cup, and he's pouring it, and he's pouring it, he's pouring it, and it's choosing one person, right? The man, Ebo, the one, the main evil. That's why one is A, in Greek is alpha. Okay? So it's in their wordplay, it's logical, it's what man has known and has been moving with for long as anyone can remember. Okay. Eugenic, so again, let's move to the eugenic test versus a reason-based test. I touched on this before. Eugenics is the self-direction of society by the rape cult beta elite. Okay? Period. Look at the kings in Europe. You know, they're all beta weirdos. King Louis, you know, and so on and so forth. They're betas. Even the founding fathers were betas. Look at look at Benjamin Franklin. He's a chicken neck beta. George Washington, wig wearing, you know, may as well have lipstick on. You look at him, imagine just putting lipstick on him. You almost have a female to a T, okay? They're betas. It's a beta governing class direction, whether they have a story of coming up poor or not. They probably got plugged in the ass in a Masonic lodge with a mentor. That's usually how it's done. That's part of how they confuse you, by getting their poor butt buddy to be someone, a president or something. So what? It's still the beta energy, quote unquote, spirit. Okay, so it's a eugenic test where these people are impairing. On record, eugenics is about impairing physical qualities of alphas and people that are similar to them so that betas can look good and seem like they're in charge. And they go, hey, you know, it has more weight. You know, when you have a contrast with someone who's really a man saying, hey, you know, obviously I'm fumed and drugged and da-da-da-da-da, so it's hard for me to say. Okay, then they look like pesky bitches. Betas, the King of Hearts and Alice in Wonderland and the cartoon, they don't want to look like these pesky bitches. They want to actually seem like they're manly, and they want to reduce everyone else to do that, and they're bitches. You know, the old fucking, you know, house coat with a cigar, you know, some punny slippers or something like, I just fucked some top shelf and I'm a beta and she's so healthy and it's so unnatural. Ooh, look at me. It's bitch shit. Okay, so the reason-based test must include valid points of reference. How are they going to reason when their points of reference is a conformist preacher, minister, priest, you name it? How are you going to reason? Well, this guy's teaching you to conform. He's teaching you to endure evil and to conform. He's not saying carry your cross. If he was, he wouldn't have a congregation. The very fact that he has a church and a congregation when Satan is the god of this world, and this is one of the most corrupt countries in the world, in America, for example, screams that he's a liar, that he's a Luciferian. The burden of proof is on him, and with no conveyed spiritual power and only psychology, he cannot meet that burden of proof. He's not training them to use reason to defeat the system. He's giving them a Luciferian presentation, you know. It's like, you know, training somebody to fucking crawl, and it's a mile run, okay? You're nowhere near ready. So when we look at martial art training versus wolf Luciferian misdirection, now this has to do with discipline, emotion, and temptation. When the woman says, look at that nice thing, they're teaching you to have a guy that provides, which teaches women to be a gold digger. This is the most common kind of thing when it comes to this issue, social relations, romantic relations. Churches tend to teach women to have a guy who can support them, who can provide. And they pray for, you know, thank you. They want you to pray before a meal, which has to do with providing, which has to do with the earth supplying the food. G says, Jesus, there was no J. G says, the earth deity, also known as Gaia, also known as Ki, which also goes back to martial arts, right? The Chi, the Ki, versus the Ka, the spirit. And the great Chi, which is the energy that has received the spirit. And those who can only detect energy and detect the changes in energy versus those who can detect the spirit. Okay. So we look at this thing. Martial art training versus wolf Luciferian misdirection. Wolf backwards is flow. They want to get their earth flow, right? These weren't martial artists, Europeans, for example, who came in. They came in with the European and the Jews, and they weren't martial artists. And the Asian guys tend to be, you know, and that's being gracious, illusion-based martial artists. Okay, they're not real martial artists. They deal in illusion. The art, Okay, like a magic show. Look at a magician stage, look at a martial arts stage, look at all the martial artists who have been exposed as frauds, the quote-unquote martial arts. Anyway, so, discipline, dedication, determination. They're not teaching their congregation to have that. They're teaching the congregation to be a slave to their false doctrine, as wolves in sheep's clothes. And they're going out there and they're facing this enormous temptation, all these sugars and all these foods that quite often they don't warn them about. They're unfocused, they're vulnerable, they're ripe for the killing. It's like they're helping them, fatten them, and they're working with witches in the forest who are going to put them in an oven. Okay, they're not teaching them to win; they're teaching them to lose, and they're going to split the rewards of when they do so. Okay, a lot of these guys drive nice cars and so on and so forth. All right, so martial art training versus wolf Luciferian misdirection. What are the martial art principles? Okay, I don't have a list here. It's a long list. It's dedication, determination, motivation, focus. Okay, conveyance, love. Okay, a willingness to die for the highest cause, a willingness to sacrifice, right? A soldier, martial arts, war arts, a willingness to put your family in danger, to face adversity, putting a cause that is greater than yourself. And of course, if you're a martial artist of God, a true martial artist, you put God first in the spirit of righteousness before all the flesh of everyone on the planet. If the whole planet is wrong and wants you to do wrong as well, you sacrifice everything you have to and do right and go to God. Even if you have to blow the planet up. If that's the right thing to do, you do it. You don't hesitate. These are martial art principles. And any true martial artist wouldn't hesitate to do that. If they knew it was the right thing to do and they had to act right then, they wouldn't be like, well, what do I do? They just, boom, press the button, boom, boom, gone. Okay, so this eventually leads us to the black spiritual moral argument. One thing they do, and it's quite interesting, remember this has to do with the drill, this has to do with the test, this has to do with sifting. They're trying to sift and see what is of God so they can rape and abuse it and screen it out. They're screening out the alpha genes and people who are sensitive to their bitch, to their rape call energy, to their worldly G energy. Okay. So when we look at Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, okay, Marcus Garvey, Abraham Lincoln, and the Civil War. What people are taught is when black people who are spiritual and moral have a problem with society or a group of people, that you're supposed to take their side. Think about it. That's how people are conditioned to think. It's one of the few things they had right, but they confuse you about which black people are right about what. Okay, so this set the stage for, Obama to become president under false pretenses. This set the stage for all kinds of fake black Uncle Tom house niggas to come out high on Carlton acting like a bitch. Okay, acting just like a bitch, just like one. However, this also made it so they had no excuse when someone like me is Martin Luther King times infinity. He's a true martial arts messiah who gets it right, the whole time. He should be in charge, and people should come together and be marshaled under him. Unlike Martin Luther King, who said, kiss the white man's ass, kiss the peaceful protest, and on his way out, he's like, wait a second, I led people into a burning house. Now, just because compared to him, people were bitches at the time, and still are, other than me, and maybe a few other people at best, okay, doesn't mean that he was perfectly right. He was more right, he wasn't truly right. So what this does is we see people giving points of reference without being trained. This is what you should do, but you're not disciplined, dedicated, or coming from a house that trained you to be right. You weren't raised right. You weren't raised like the sun. Rise like the sun, rise to the occasion, they weren't raised to rise to the occasion. They were raised to bend over for the New World Order and fucking with a smile on their face and say, did I do a good job, like a bitch. So when they don't do what have been presented to them as the right thing to do, it's because they weren't trained right. They're instead groomed, have a train run on them, and to save their life and their family. I'll do it for my kids. And you have all these porn stars. Look how much porn there is. Why do all these attractive women become porn stars? Because they are trained to fail and not trained to have moral discipline, moral dedication, moral determinants, and to morally obey the righteous man, and to have an ability to morally identify the moral mate. Okay. And this has to do with RNA as well. You know, the patriarchal line is part of why they're expressing bitch.